Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Our first story is called The Window Across the Courtyard. This story was sent by a listener named Olivia. She wrote, "This happened during my sophomore year of college. I never told my parents the full story because even now, I'm scared whoever was watching me might still be out there." This is her story. I transferred to university when I was 19. It was my first time living away from home. I grew up in a small town in Nebraska where everyone knew everyone. My mother was a teacher. My father coached Little League. I'd never locked my bedroom window in my life. By sophomore year, I finally felt independent. I lived in an old brick dorm overlooking an interior courtyard. My room was on the fourth floor. Across from me was another dorm building with rows of identical windows facing mine. At night, you could see silhouettes moving inside everyone's rooms. People studying, watching TV, talking. It always felt strangely comforting. Like even when you were alone, you weren't really alone. I stopped feeling that way in October. Midterms were killing me. I'd stay up late at my desk with coffee and headphones. One night around 1 a.m., I got up to close my blinds. That's when I saw him, in the building across the courtyard, standing motionless in the dark behind a window, watching mine. No light on in his room, just a silhouette, still, facing directly at me. I assumed he was looking outside, until the next night, he was there again. Same window, same posture, same stillness, and watching. Then I found the photo slipped under my door. It was me, sitting at my desk, taken from across the courtyard through my bedroom window. Written on the back, "You look beautiful when you study." Campus police searched, but they couldn't identify which room the photo was taken from. There were too many windows and too many students. There were no fingerprints and no camera was found. I started sleeping at friends' apartments. Then more photos appeared. Me brushing my hair, me asleep in bed, me changing with my blinds partially open, all taken from impossible angles. One night, I woke up around 3:17 a.m. because my phone vibrated. Unknown number, text message, "Open your blinds." I froze. I looked towards the window and saw him, still standing in the building across the courtyard, waiting. Campus police arrived in minutes. They searched the opposite dorm room they believed he was in, and it was empty. No one was there. There was no camera and no trace of anyone. The room had been vacant all semester. Olivia ended her story with, "They never figured out who took the photos, and I still can't sleep with open blinds." Our next story is called Footsteps in the Library Stairs. This story came from Daniel. He wrote, "I always thought libraries were safe, quiet, peaceful, until I realized someone was following me floor by floor." This is his story. "I was 23 and in graduate school for history. I spent most nights buried in archives in the university library basement. I wasn't very social, didn't party much. It was mostly classes, research, coffee, repeat. I stayed late because I liked how empty the building became after midnight. It felt peaceful until I started hearing footsteps. At first, it sounded normal, someone on the stairwell above me. But every time I stopped walking, the footsteps stopped too. When I'd walk, they'd walk. Same rhythm, always one floor above. Then I found notes tucked inside the books I checked out. You always sit by the west window. You bite your nails when you're stressed. You stay later than everyone else. One night, at 2 a.m., I packed up and left. The library was nearly empty. I took the stairwell instead of the elevator. Halfway down, I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, matching mine exactly. I sped up, so did they. I turned the corner and saw a man standing one landing above me, watching me. Then he smiled and started walking down, fast. Daniel ended his submission with, I sprinted out through the emergency exit and called campus police. Security footage later showed the man entering the stairwell, but never leaving. They searched the entire library. Nothing. Months later, they identified him as a former student banned from campus. He'd been entering after hours through maintenance access. Our last story is called The Empty Seat in Lecture Hall 12. This story was submitted by Maya. She wrote, this happened my senior year. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then, someone tried to kill me. This is her story. I was studying biology and preparing for med school. My life was routine classes, labs, work study job, late night studying. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I sat in lecture hall 12 in the same seat, third row from the back, left side. And every class, the same empty seat sat directly behind me. No one ever took it until one Thursday. A folded note was lying there. It read, I like your perfume. I laughed nervously and threw it away. Then another note appeared 2 days later. You looked tired after lab last night. Then another. You should stop walking home alone after chemistry. I reported it to campus police and they increased patrol. Nothing found. Then one night, leaving lab around 10 p.m., someone grabbed me from behind near the science building. He covered my mouth, pulled me towards a maintenance alley. I fought, I kicked, and I screamed. Until finally, another student nearby heard me screaming and came running. The attacker ran. Police caught him 2 weeks later. He was a janitor that was employed by the university. He'd been entering classrooms before lectures and leaving notes. He followed me between buildings. He tracked my schedule for months. Maya ended with, even after he was arrested, I couldn't go back into lecture hall 12 because every time I sat down, I could still feel someone sitting in the empty seat behind me. Thank you for listening. And if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. And if you would like to submit your story, please email me at tonightsbroadcast77@gmail.com. Until the shadows call again, good night.